This is a direct message to those who call themselves educated, thinkers, leaders, and anyone who's ever taken a paycheck and believed they understood the system. If you can read between the lines, you already know this message is not just words. It's a signal, part of something bigger. This is a real challenge, a test of intelligence, integrity, and depth. Because while the surface world, the so-called 3D world, has its place without characters and morals, it all collapses. The world is on a stage right now, a kind of World Series of consciousness. And the irony is that most don't even know they're in the game. So here's the real question. Can you evolve past labels, past ego, and past systems, and still live with principles when no one's watching? How you interpret this message says everything about you, not me. I'm just a messenger. And as for who I work for, well, I guess that's for you to figure out. Okay, I work for Wayne Enterprises and testing on some new shit. And seeing how it works. I have to plug it into my head and whatever. Working on some new science experiments. I'm a little more when somebody's in the house or different things. I'm quieter, even though it doesn't matter. Like I said, I've been honest in this process that I have not cheated or had an affair or any of those things. Things happened the way they needed to. I needed to know who I was first, and then I learned where I belonged, and I've moving forward in the right way, 100%, and that's why I'm so stubborn and strict on the way things have to be, because I there's too much at stake, and it's the hardest sacrifice because it leaves me very scared and confused and alone. However, I have so much faith in the fact that it's just going to work. So I'm just continuing to follow the instructions that I'm given because every day it just proves to be right. So, to give you a little more clarity and help you out, because I know everybody wants confirmation on things. The clarity that I got, obviously I knew my science geek family. I knew I was on the geek side. Like I know I'm a geek. I've always been a geek. Even as early as grade school, was the girl who defended anyone always who didn't have friends or was made fun of or was criticized or any of those things. I did. But however, that doesn't mean I was perfect in my life. I've had many times where I've turned away from different things, from insecurities. So I never ever look at myself as somebody who's I don't get into like I believe in always helping people, but that doesn't mean like, and I'm careful in that because I'm saying it in a sense that doesn't mean anyone's better along the lines. It just means they had a set of skills and I had a set of skills, so that's where you become a team. Well, if this is my ability, so I want to make sure that you know that you're good enough and your skills are better than mine. Like that's where we need each other. So it's not a matter of somebody better than somebody else or somebody's skills more important. It's like, no, the whole puzzle has to fit together, and that's the most important thing. And anyone that ever forgets that or thinks that they're like, higher, above, or whatever, yes, in a sense of said 1% is responsible for everyone else, absolutely. And the people that have fucked us over, go fuck yourself. You like, I've had to learn, that's what you've taught me, is that I have to be able to walk away from people that have hurt me. I kept helping, but I have to stop and say, no, you don't deserve me, because that does drive me in my lifetime. The people that have picked on me, the people that have hurt me, all of those things are what have given me power to say, you know what, go fuck yourself. I'm going to prove you wrong and make you look stupid. There's nothing wrong with that. I have Arnold's voice in my head saying, there's a reason why anger is better than this despair, but we have to feel all of it. And we work through it, and we have to know now who the true enemies are, because it is a matter of choosing sides. There is no wishy-washy in the middle. Like, this is like, you're on this side or you're on that side. That is what we're doing right now. So who's really on our side? Well, for sure, we're working through this. And why I can now, openly tease Zuckerberg and all of that, kicking me back my account. Thank you. Because he has permission, obviously, to get back. How else would we have connected as a family to make this internet social media shit? So when I saw the challenge and seen it, I see it as, okay, the whole internet is my game. The whole internet is my game, and I'm just going to figure out how I get these messages across. I did not know at the time when I went crazy, what I was doing. Like, I am not the one who writes the messages. Like, they just use my body, so it just went where it needed to go, and you guys worked that out, and then you don't show me things so that I can prove, my abilities or whatever, which is the hardest thing, because I have to go on 100% of belief, nothing else, which is really difficult, right? And how do I communicate back? This little computer, right? This computer that is personalized to you is personalized to me, because what gets in our head is what shapes our reality and our perception. So who controls the media, and those networks and everything, controls the world. And it's been in the wrong power for a very, very long time, and having to shift that power to the right side now is where we really need to be. So when I first went crazy and I'm throwing things out of the house and doing everything before the hospital and ranting on the internet about different things and celebrities and everything else, fucking Brad Pitt's in my house telling me to throw the dog. I'm like, I'm not fucking throwing the dog. I'm seeing one thing that's totally different. I go to the hospital, I'm, in Suicide Squad mode, right? Looking like a crazy person. My body was in a place of remembering, rape and abuse and everything, but my mind was fine. My mind was in a movie. And there's the disassociation between the two, however, at that time was telling me the story that would unfold over the next, 7 months or whatever that it's been. I've been blinded, I've been made deaf, I've had my eyes, like all of these things, a problem with my ear. Like I get better now as time goes on and I talk, and the more belief there is, the more I heal, and that's just not me, that's you, because we're all attached to the world, and then those versions of us that are out there in the world are attached to our healing. So if we don't heal, the world doesn't heal. That is how it works. And that's where, you joke, and the scientist part, you go into the time machine, and then there's a whole different versions of you that come out. Well, those different versions of us have kind of been fucking up the planet. So if we don't fix us, like, everything's fucked, right? So that's why everybody's responsible for seeing who they are, and, we help each other and we support each other, and knowing that, when you look in the mirror, you're not alone, and that voice, you're not alone, but it's a question of who do you see? Who do you see? Right? So what do we do? A Star is Born, the relatives of this, and who's working with us for, you have to go to, to credible sources and those types of things, and where we want to go, and the ability to see what others aren't. What were the princess that we really needed to get out here. Kate has not yet come to me. I have to tell you that, Kate. We're not there yet where I've had a conversation with you. I've talked to Megan, but I have not talked to you yet, because we're doing something else. So, get on board. Everybody else on here, I don't know, that girl's just a representation of, the yin and the yang, and why it's hidden. But everyone else on this board, I have had a conversation with, minus the people that are like faceless, except for Kate. So Kate, why have I had a conversation with Megan, but I have not had a conversation with you? I know why, but do you know why? I know why, do you know why? So, the misunderstandings of how, politics are just a game, and you're just a pawn in their little show, until you really understand your role is much bigger. We all had to break through this glass ceiling, all of us, to realize that in order to free ourselves from slavery and free the world from slavery, can't free everyone, we just can't, but we can do our best to do as much as we can, and we will save this planet and the world, because we are all stronger. Representation of, so why was it Brad telling me to throw the dog? Well, he is my twin. And how these things work out, and how relationships change, and different and things. And in my lifetime, I felt I've just always felt this brotherly kind of connection in different things, and the misrepresentation, being misunderstood, and when you've been like a sex symbol from a very young age, and how difficult that is on somebody, and not understanding, you don't understand love. You don't. And that's why so many celebrities, when they get fame, are so lost, because when you become a public figure, it's just all fucked up, and there's so many things that are so confusing. But it's not just celebrities, it's obviously rock stars and billionaires and millionaires and business people, and everybody's just all mixed up. You're trying to save everybody and help everybody, but you think when you're not, like, if you age, or you don't look as good as you once did, or something like that, you're feeling like you're not as attractive, and none of that's accurate, and none of that's true. It's all relative. And how do we stay young and youthful? Well, that's the blessings of technology, right? You're filmed, you get to keep your legacy alive, you get to keep those things alive, and then the best thing is you get to mentor somebody else, the next generation, and you get to see yourself in them, and that's pretty cool. So there's obviously those components, and even where people are supposed to be, and as fucked up as this is, Leo, you're my grandfather. Like, how that's how that works out. And why are you my grandfather? Well, who's my grandmother? You guys can figure out those pieces of the puzzle. I'm not going to tell you everything. I can tell you, and that's where I say with representation. So I know the day that James Cameron, we had a conversation, and he adopted me, and he took me in and said, I am your father, right? So I have different fathers, different ways, different lives. And then where that line comes in, and that obviously gives me strength. And then, Steven Spielberg, being attached to him as friends, so that's the dynamic, that true friendship and that true love for each other. They became parents to me, and that's where it's like saying it is that different representations of different things at different times, and that's how these timelines all work. And that's why it's not necessarily just the people sitting at the table that said 12 plus the 12. It's your whole line. So it's like, who's representing and who's in that line. And that's why there's so many of us, because we aren't the type of people who want to close off the table. We actually want to build a bigger one. However, only select number of people can truly really understand what we're doing, and we all need to be in a place where we can speak openly, honestly, and without judgment, because it's what we've all been longing for. It's what we've all been thinking of. You've just needed clarification, and I'm on the other side to give you that clarification. Am I allowed to tell them about the meeting we had here yesterday, the virtual meeting? I was a limited meeting. I do identify as a nerd. I appreciate that you guys, put that out there in these different things, and then that elevated to a different story. That's nice, but I don't see myself that way. I really don't. So it's, it's nice, and thanks. But I guess being the girl in the group, the only one in that meeting, that's why that made sense. Which ultimately led back to you guys fucking making me a male or a bride, though. But that's this type of family, isn't it? That was a good meeting. I see the meetings very clearly. Of course, I don't need the glasses. Right? That's basic. If you need glasses for like the Kingsman type style meetings, we had it in the kitchen. Right? And that goes back to the meeting that we originally had when I was in Grimsby in front of the computer. That was a limited meeting too. Were you guys at that meeting? I know who was at that meeting. If you don't even know about the meeting, then I have to ask yourself, what club are you fucking in? I'm a prisoner. I know I'm a man, guys. I'm taking this alpha thing. I wasn't fucking kidding about that. I'm waiting for you guys to have the balls, get my money back. And then you guys are gonna have to train me, though. I apparently have to be a better man that's like organized, not a fucking full killer. Apparently you can't go around fucking murdering the women just when you want. Like, you're not allowed to do that. Fuck. Welcome to the Elegantly Outrageous Personal Development Institute. Meet our first elegantly outrageous avatar, Candace. The foundation of our personal development programs are based on Candace's real life story. When the Elegantly Outrageous Personal Development Institute expanded, it turned into a game, one that was created to help you find the best possible version of yourself. So pay attention to the clues, because everything is there for a reason and nothing you see ever is a coincidence. Are you truly comfortable, confident, and happy in your own skin? Then why do you feel you should disguise your own inner contentment? The Elegantly Outrageous programs are designed to help you overcome life's paradox. Understanding what it means to love yourself is the key to resolving conflict, especially your own inner conflict, which we are all struggling with in so many areas. The Elegantly Outrageous programs are playfully hidden in plain sight to help you pay attention to your next clue for personal development. How can you become the best possible version of yourself? Play the game.